Oh, happy Thursday, beautiful people. Welcome to Lovebabz, Lovetalk. You know, if it's around 9 o'clock, it's time for Lovebabz, Lovetalk. I'm Babz Rawls Ivy. I'm delighted this morning to have Dawn Slade and Rodney J. Russell calling in about 5 minutes from Nuts About Health. And they're going to be talking about Rodney's return to New Haven to get us all healthy and exercising. Good morning. How are you? Okay, you guys speak right into turn that mic a little bit towards you. Just turn it. There we go. And just get right up on top of it. Yes. I still can't hear her, Harry. Is she on too? Okay. She sounds very far away. So let me tell you about this conversation today. So Health Nut comes home to slay obesity monster. That would be Rodney J. Russell. So when Rodney J. Russell's doctor wanted him to increase his doses of high blood pressure medication, and I have been on that track, Rodney said no. Instead, he enrolled in a boot camp at Latasha Lewis's Tada's Fitness Center in Decatur, Georgia, changed his diet, and began a regular exercise. In a month, he lost nearly 30 pounds and decreased his blood pressure to almost normal. He never looked back. Rodney's story reinforces Nuts About Health Inc.'s message that to halt obesity, decrease chronic disease, and improve health, people must change what they eat and move their bodies. Nuts About Health Inc. is tapping into Rodney's passion for health and fitness to facilitate Let's Move Those Bodies on May 4th from 9:30 a.m. to 11 o'clock at James Hill House High School, 480 Sherman Avenue in New Haven. And the cost is about $10. It is $10 to come. So I got Dawn Slade here because she's part of this team. So I get the press release, and I'm excited to have him and her come on and talk to me this morning. So how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much again. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's my pleasure. I think, is Rodney here too? Rodney?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Rodney. How are you?
Good. You? How's it going, Beth?
How are you? You know, I saw your mother a few weeks ago at a expo, at the Women's Expo, and it was so nice to see her because she's doing this crochet thing, and I bought a hat, and of course every time I see her, I ask about you.
I was asked about you. She mentioned that she saw you too, so. Yeah, she's loving that crocheting thing.
I know. Well, you look amazing, Rodney. I follow you on Facebook on the Inner City page.
Oh, thank you so much. I thought that was you.
Yeah, well, I run the Inner City newspaper in their page.
I know.
And so I watched your journey from the very beginning on this fitness, and it has been inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Babz. It's been a life-changing opportunity.
So tell me, you and Miss Slade are doing Nuts About Health. Talk a little bit about this collaboration and why this is important, both of you.
Go ahead, Dawn.
Okay. Nuts About Health, our mission is to slay the obesity monster. And it's a nonprofit 501c3 organization that was started by my mother, the late Ruby Slade. And because my mother, she was a diabetic, and she had some health challenges, but she would always say, you know, I just didn't know. The doctors didn't tell me this. So it was her mission to provide information to the community, because her vision was to live in a community where everyone had vibrant, optimum health. So she started Nuts About Health, and we became the mother-daughter team on a mission to slay the obesity monster. And we just are in the community providing information to empower people, to inspire them to practice healthy lifestyle habits. And so Rodney called me a few weeks ago and said, I'm going to be in town, and I would love to do something for Nuts About Health, because he is my cousin.
That's good.
Yes, and I really appreciate, he's a very busy man, and I really appreciate him, you know, coming to New Haven, you know, spending some of his time, his family time, to do this event to help us just make people more aware that you can control your health problems and your health outcomes by, you know, changing your diet and moving your body. So he is very zealous, and I think people are really going to enjoy him facilitating the class and telling his story. So he will tell his story. So Rodney, tell your story, man.
Oh yes, yes. I started out. I weighed, I don't know, 215, 217, 220, and I was on blood medication, high blood pressure, and I wanted to come off of it. And I found my wife was going to the center, TFC, Todd House Fitness, and I knew Tasha from our leadership class, and I figured boot camps were just for, you know, not for men. And I changed my outlook, and I decided to go, and I got hooked ever since. Lost over 40 pounds. Medication has been moderated, and I work out every day, and I'm teaching classes now. I got certified in personal and group training and group fitness, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. And the Nuts About Health, my Aunt Ruby and Dawn have always have preached a lot about changing your eating habits, and Dawn can tell you a lot about my eating habits, and the fact that I'm eating avocados and, you know, red golden beets and other foods is an amazing transformation for me. And so it's been an interesting journey.
So Rodney, when did you know? Like, what? Tell me a little bit about that moment when you realized I gotta make a decision. I gotta make a change. Did you vacillate on this? Like, did you like, okay, I'm gonna take the medication. I'll do what they tell me to do. I don't know what I could do about this. I mean, what was your process? Because everybody has a process about when they get to the, I've had enough, now I have to really do something.
You're absolutely right. I think my process was when my blood pressure was like 148 over 98, or was close to 100. And it stayed that way for a long period of time. So I knew it was either blood pressure medicine, increasing that, and taking multiple pills, or getting myself in shape and trying to make a difference without medication. And so my ultimate goal was to come off the medication. I'm still on it, light dose, but that was my turning point, Babz, when I saw my blood pressure and knew that I had to do something. Otherwise, was it going to be medication? I probably wouldn't be here that long. And so I had that turning moment where I really knew I had to do something different.
So when you made this decision, did you know that you were going to go work out? Like, or did you say, you know, I'm gonna go find a gym? Or, I mean, I know you said your wife was already working out, but what kind of research did you do? Did you say, you know what, let me go read, or let me go talk to somebody, let me go figure this out, let me look around and see what other, because there's a lot of ways to lose weight. There's a lot of ways. And so I just want to know, like, what worked, like, what triggered for you? What spoke to you?
I think what triggered it for me was my relationship with Tasha, and that my wife was doing it. I've done the Planet Fitness, the LA Fitness, working out on my own, working out with groups, and even trying to do, you know, some other things. And I realized that none of that stuff was sustainable. And so after talking to my wife and talking to Tasha, I said, I'll give it a try. And I did the first boot camp, and it was so different. And it wasn't your typical, you know, you just show up and somebody runs you around. It was a lot more eating components. We had meatless Mondays. We had a cheat Sundays. And so it was a very, very structured program. And I said to my wife after the first couple of weeks, I said, we're going to do this for the rest of the year. So all of 2017, we did every boot camp. So for 6 weeks straight, we were working out every day except Sunday. And that's what really got me inspired and kept me going, was that the components of the boot camp went beyond just the physical movement. It was more about how you eat. They had a shopping tour where we went and learned how to shop. Most of us don't know how to shop. I also had other health initiatives that helped us better understand how we're sabotaging ourselves. And so it was the educational piece that was very, very helpful that kept me going. And so I did camp all of 17 and actually got my certifications in the middle of 17 and kept it going. And now I'm teaching classes. I'm in the process of finishing up a 2-week strength and conditioning class, and I have over 17 clients that I work with from a personal training perspective.
Wow. So talk a little bit about your diet. Like what was the biggest change?
I think the biggest, this is a good, incorporating more color into my food.
Mm-hmm.
I was a meat and potatoes guy. And so Babz, when you think about spinach, salads, and what kind of dressings and things you put on, and even meat, I had to think about all of that. And so I have a better understanding of how the food impacts my body, why I need the food. And because we eat food used to be a sport for me. And now it's more about what nutrition can I get out of this food? What kind of nutrients, macronutrients can I get out of this food versus, hey, I want to go out and eat a 10-ounce steak with some potatoes.
Wow.
And so the driver has become more about knowing what is contained in the food that I eat and the nutrients that I'm going to get, so that when I go run this afternoon for 8 miles, I'll have enough energy to sustain me for those 8 miles.
Wow. So when you make these changes, because I find when you make these kinds of changes, that your circle of people who you roll with kind of shifts. They either get on board
Mm-hmm.
or they low key sabotage, or they don't understand,
right.
or they feel some kind of way about your change. Has that been your experience?
Yes, the circle of friends have changed a lot in terms of, and I guess I hang out more with the folks who are more of a gym rat, and so my wife and I, our circle of friends has changed a little bit. We still have our mainstays, the folks that we've been friends with forever. But you're absolutely right, Babz. Somebody might say, "Hey, let's go eat breakfast at the Waffle House," knowing that that's not the right move for us. We have to make those decisions each and every day. And the fact that you got to think about food each and every day is a challenge in and of itself. And so, yes, you need to be around folks who are going to hold you accountable for the journey that you're on. And so that's what drives the relationships that you maintain while you're doing that. It's it's good and bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Dawn, you've been doing this. You've been carrying on your mother's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you hear out there when people say they have barriers, or what are the barriers do you see on the everyday practicality of people's lives, why they can't include diet and exercise in their everyday life?
I think most people believe they don't have time, and they don't understand that they have to make health and fitness a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be so important in your life that you find the time to do it. And Rodney said something that was really important about the nutrition education piece, because, I've struggled with obesity all my life. My mother and I did both. And that's one of the reasons we started it, because I didn't want the next generation to go through the things that I went through as being an overweight child. And the statistics show that if you are an overweight child, you're going to be an overweight adult. And I know I lived that. So my mother and I really wanted to educate people with the food piece and let them understand that you are what you eat, and healthy eating does matter. And so you can go to the gym. You can work out you can go on a diet and you can work out and you can lose the weight. But if you do not change it totally and completely, you're going to gain the weight back. That's been my experience. So like, as Rodney said, it has to be a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, it's all about loving yourself. The name of your show is Bad Love Talk, right?
Yes.
It's all about loving yourself enough to say, hey, I have to do this, And a lot of times when you're on the journey, some people tell you it doesn't take all that. It does take all that. It takes you being very purposeful and say, you know, okay, just for today, I'm going to eat this, or just not even just for today, just for this moment. And so Rodney has been such an inspiration to me because I am a personal trainer, and I know everything that I'm supposed to do, but it's tough doing it. And so I want people to learn from my journey, because I don't want the next generation, especially our children. If our children do not stop with all this junk food and being inactive, they're not going to outlive their parents. And it's really that serious. It's really that serious. So I think that people just say, I don't have the time, but they'll sit and look at 3 TV shows, and they don't understand that you're looking at somebody else's life. What are you doing, you know, to enhance your life?
So Rodney, when you started this journey, give me a few of the things that you found amazing that you learned. Because I know one thing is that, you know, you at least when because I'm weight training, what I find amazing is that my body can do things that I never thought it could do. So I was always excited that I could lift as much weight as I could lift. And I'd be like, oh my God, I actually lifted this weight and didn't die. So talk a little bit about some of the amazing things that you realized that you could do on this fitness journey.
Babz, you bring up a great point, and some of the things that I've learned is that I can eat, that the food doesn't taste bad, as I thought it did. And sometimes food say, well, did you try it, Rodney? Did you try it? I said, I just don't like the way it looks. And so I've learned that there's some stuff out there that I really like.
Like what? And what do you really like now?
I love avocados. You know, I'll eat avocado toast. I can eat that as frequently as possible. I love golden beets. I love a good fruit salad. A chef at the job that I work at, he makes watermelons and pecans and golden beets, and he puts all this stuff in there. And my mother would be amazed that I'm eating this food.
His cousin is amazed.
Amazed. And so you're right, though. Your body can do some things that you can't even imagine that you can do. And, you know, I hadn't ran in a long time. When I turned 50, I started running. And now I run in the Peachtree Road Race, and I'm running with folks who are 20 years younger than me at the same speed. But if you had asked me that in 2016, I would have told you I can't do that. So yes, you're capable of doing so much more than you think you can.
I think you're right. So all right, so you got on this because I follow you. I watched you do this on Facebook. Because I remember when you first started working out, and I was watching you, and I remember the first couple of races and all of that, and I remember a couple of races you didn't finish the way you wanted to finish, and you just got considerably better and better and better as you went. So so talk a little bit about the progress, because I think people want fast results. I know I do. I want fast results. And I don't want to do a whole lot.
Yeah. Babz, you're absolutely right. And the results, I think that the key to what we did, myself and my wife, was the patience. And I wanted fast results. That first 6 weeks I had the boot camp, I lost 18 pounds.
Whoa.
And man, I said, if I lose another 18 pounds, it's going to be really, really great, right? And so the next one, I hit a plateau. I lost 11, and then it got progressively lower from there. But as I got to the end of my, was it third or fourth boot camp, it was a cumulative amount of 40 pounds. And so some of us don't understand the whole process of losing weight, and we just focus on the scale. But body fat, losing body fat and gaining lean muscle mass may equate to a positive or negative number. But we all know that muscle weighs more than fat. And so me having a better understanding of that has been incredible to my patience. It has helped me develop incredible patience. And so I was dealing with one of my clients yesterday, and she said, you know, Rodney, I gained 1 pound, but I'm fitting in the clothes that I couldn't fit into, 3 or 4 months ago, or even last year. And so they understand that it's just not the scale, it's other factors. And so, yeah, if you're looking for a silver bullet, weight training or doing boot camps may not be for you. But if you have the patience to understand that this is a lifelong process, then you probably will see much better results. And it may take a little bit longer because each one of us are different.
So talk a little bit about what your doctors are saying to you. Like, what were they saying to you before you started this? And what were they saying to you after they've seen all these great results?
That's a great question. The first time my doctor, I saw him in December, and I said he was about to increase my dosage, and I said to him, I said, can you give me 30 days? And he just looked at me like, what are you going to do in 30 days? So I started that boot camp, I think it was January 7th, 2017. I had an appointment for the next month. I came back and saw him, and I probably, at that point, it wasn't 18 pounds, but I was losing weight. And he said, okay, you're doing good. I said, could I get another 30 days? And he gave me another 30 days because he really wanted to increase his dosage because he was concerned about, my blood pressure being at, 148, close to 100. And so at the end of that boot camp, I had lost 18 pounds. My blood pressure went down dramatically. He says, hey, I don't need to increase it. You're good where we're at, right? And I said, well, hey, I want to come off. He says, okay, Rodney, it's going to take a lot more than this, and I need to see it consistent over time. And so it was, that whole process of being able to go back and see my doctor. I religiously checked my blood pressure because on my job we have a nurse. And so I was getting my blood pressure checked every day. And during this process, more than the scale, my blood pressure kept going down and it was maintaining a consistent level. And even the other day when I got it checked, it was at a great level. And so this has been, 2.5 years where I've been able to keep this blood pressure in check. And that's more important than any weight that I can lose.
Can I say something? I wanted to say that's exactly what Nuts About Health wants people to understand. That if you change what you eat and you move your body, you can stop obesity, and more importantly, you can decrease chronic diseases like high blood pressure and diabetes. These are lifestyle diseases that can be managed successfully by the way you eat and moving your body. And so we want to improve our health outcomes. And we are at a point where our community is very, very sick and very overweight. Yeah. This is something that is non-negotiable. We must change, and we must change like yesterday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, we tend to think that gun violence is the number one killer of us, but it really, for women of color, it's heart disease is the number one killer of Black women. So, and heart disease as it relates to diabetes and high blood pressure. And so we are slowly killing ourselves at a rapid pace.
Right. We're digging ourselves. We are digging an early grave for ourselves with our teeth. And Rodney also said something very, very significant. Rodney used to eat hamburgers and cereal growing up. That was it. He did not eat any vegetables or anything to that magnitude. So, as he said, his mother would be quite surprised. I mean, it's a miracle. It's a miracle the way he eats now. It's a miracle that he is a cheerleader for healthy eating foods that you initially might say, but to give them a chance, because they're going to be the foods that are good for your body. So you have to be open, and you have to want to. You have to love yourself enough. Rodney loved himself enough to say, I'm not trying to take all this medication. I can do something. I have control, and so let me do something.
So, Rodney, when you meet with clients, and they see you initially, they can't imagine the journey. So you have to share with them the journey so that they have a sense of, I was where you were, and this is what I did, and this is where I'm at. So talk a little bit about those initial conversations that you have with potential clients.
Yes. The initial conversation with the clients is, why are you doing this? What do you hope to gain out of it? And then I try to connect with them by saying, I was in your shoes. I show them pictures. Actually, I show them pictures. And it's amazing to me when I look at the pictures and look at where I'm at now.
And listen, Rodney, you're not a bad looking guy. You wasn't a bad looking guy 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
I mean, you were a great looking guy. But even that chunkiness, you were like, you're still a good looking man. So, but I absolutely see the difference. But so,
And that's the conversation. I mean, is that if I can do it, you can too. And we may not do it at the same pace, but we can definitely do it. There's different things that we can do. And so I try not to dip the herd and give everybody the same solution, because we know that people learn differently, and their metabolism is different. And so we try to adjust the program to make it to help it meet their needs and where they're at this point in time. And but Dawn said it absolutely. You have to get out. You have to be active. You have to walk. And with my client groups, I have contests about, steps. Let's get 10,000 steps a day. We do an abs challenge. We do all kinds of different challenges, and we kind of have a group so they all get together and talk through some of their struggles so that we can all lean on each other to make it to where we want to get. And there's never a destination. It's just a continuous journey. Because once you get to that destination and you stop, you know what happens. It comes right back. And so we try to keep it going so that it's a lifestyle change, not a destination change.
That's such a good point, that it's never a destination. I mean, I've been there, done that. I've lost 75 pounds, gained it back. I'm constantly, I'm struggling very hard to slay the obesity monster. That is our mission. And I understand that it is a lifestyle, and you must understand that, because if you don't understand that and you don't keep that lifestyle for at least 2 years, then you're going to gain the weight back, and you're not. It's not going to be a lifelong change. Rodney has done it for at least 2 years now. He is it now. He's not striving to make a change. That's who he is, and that's where we all have to. We have to be ready to do it. Once we do it, we have to have a plan. Once we have a plan, we have to follow our plan. And once we follow our plan, we have to follow that plan for at least 2 to 3 years so that it becomes our lifestyle. That's where I failed many times. So Rodney has inspired me to, with this event that we're having on May the 4th, it really is giving me incentive to, really get myself together and really get focused and really try to understand and be consistent about, this is my body, and I have to work really, really hard and stay focused so that it can work with me.
So Rodney, talk a little bit about the commitment that your wife has to this, because oftentimes I see that when couples do this, there's one person in the relationship who is reluctant and can be a little bit of a saboteur. So your wife was already on a fitness journey and you joined her. Talk about what that means to have a partner who is equally invested in health as you are.
Babz, it makes a big difference, and it goes back to your point earlier. Your audience changes, and you either have a sabotager or somebody who's going to help you. And when you're in the same household with somebody and you're going in the same direction, instead of saying when you go to the grocery store, get me some Oreo cookies, we're talking about getting some salmon and some sweet potatoes and something else. And so she's not going to let me go get something that I shouldn't have, and vice versa. And if we do, we're sneaking around and trying to hide it, and that's not a good thing to do either. And so pretty much it helps us when we choose where we want to go eat at or what we want to buy. And so she's fallen a little bit off the wagon, and she's trying to get back on it. And it's good that, we're in the same household because I can help her get back on it. But the unique thing that happens with all of us is that life happens. So she lost her father, and there were some other things that happened in her life. And, we go to food as a comfort blanket to help us get over all of the things that we dealt with. And so just having somebody there to kind of not let you fall too far off the cliff to be able to stay on the path and the journey has been helpful. And she does the same thing for me. And so whenever we're having a bad day, we're not going to go out to Papados and eat, some catfish or seafood, fried seafood. We'll make a different choice.
So
that's
you
what
can't,
that means when you're in the same household.
and you can eat out, right? You don't isolate yourselves from the things that make your life rich, right? Like you go out, you can meet up with people for dinner or cocktails or whatever. And so talk a little bit about how you maneuver those kinds of things. Because I think people think, oh my God, I have to give up so much.
So when you see me in New Haven, I'm going to get some pizza. Definitely going to get some pizza, right?
And some Kevin's. You're going to get some Kevin's.
So talking about eating healthy, and I might get Kevin's. So, I'm just going to let you know up front. But you're absolutely right. You do have to treat yourself, and you can't isolate yourself from those things that you like. You just have to manage it. And, it can't be an everyday thing. And my whole goal when I talk to my clients, I say, don't have 2 bad moments in a row. If you have a bad breakfast, don't have a bad lunch.
Oh, that's a good point.
Or a bad snack. Yeah. So don't do two bad things in a row. So hey, if you went to the next morning you wake up, you're gonna have to eat something better, eat something good, and then go earn your calories. If we're gonna go out, and I know I'm gonna eat some pizza, I'm gonna go run in or go to lift some weights. I'm gonna do something that's gonna at least try to. You can't offset that, and there's a saying that says you can't outwork a bad diet, and all of those things are true. But I'm gonna do something that's gonna at least say, hey, I earned this slice of pizza, I've earned this Kevin seafood. And so those are the kinds of things where you don't want to do. You want to have a philosophy around how you're going to integrate, the things you like into your life.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think people feel like, and I think to your point of don't make two bad choices back to back. And I think what happens is people are like, well, I already made a bad choice, so just let me just keep making, you know what I mean? Like the psychology is, well, I'm already off the wagon. Let me just stay off of it and I'll just start again after lunch and dinner, and then tomorrow I'll start again.
I'll start next week.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna start on Monday.
I'm gonna start.
Hey, it's Friday. I can do the weekend. And you're absolutely right. We come up with all kinds of creative ways to justify what we want. And if we can come up with creative ways to justify the things that we need, then the things that we want are simple. And rewards are always good. And if we can figure out a way to reward ourselves, and it doesn't always have to be with food, it could be with a vacation, it could be with a day at the spa. I mean, recovery is huge. Babz, you lift weights, so you know that you have to have some days where you can't lift weights at all. You just need to recover, go in recovery mode. Yeah. And so the way we reward ourselves is huge. And so if it's a meal, let it be a meal. I mean, let it be 30 days out where you say, I'm going to work all month, on my schedule. And if I hold that schedule, I'm going to Papa Do's on a Sunday, and I'm going to eat their brunch. And you just have to figure out a way to reward yourself with those things that you like. And don't do it all the time because it doesn't have a lasting value, and it could sabotage your progress.
So you and I are the same around the same age. I believe you at least 50, right? So we're around the same age, and so this part of your life, thinking about health, really put you in a good place to sort of go into the next decade of your life in a better place. Is that the thinking?
Absolutely. My Fitbit or my Garmin tells me that I'm about 20 years old.
Oh my God!
I want to go into 50 and 60 feeling like I'm 40.
Oh,
and
I like that.
Look like I'm close to that as well. And so I agree with you totally. It makes you feel differently. People look at you differently, and so it's more about what I feel versus what others think. And so as long as I can continue to get out and walk and run. And do things I like, that's the most important thing, because there's going to come a day when the muscle's going to break down and I'm not going to be able to do some of these things. And so I want to maximize my experience while I can.
Talk a little bit about how you feel. How do you feel in your body versus 2 years ago?
It's a great question. I feel so much different. I mean, one of the things is just getting up. Sometimes it's so hard that, you work out, and you feel soreness and you can't get up, and it's hard to go work out the next day or go run. And so now, that I'm conditioned much better than I was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it's so much easier. I go to bed earlier. I get up every day before or by 4 o'clock. I go to bed, closer to 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it's just a much better feeling. I feel rejuvenated when I get up. It gives me a lot more flexibility at work and when I'm out and working with others and playing. So the feeling is, I can't even describe it. Once you get conditioned and you know what you need to do, it makes a big difference.
So Dawn, talk a little bit about, when you talk to people in the community about this issue, how do you do it in such a way so that people don't feel judged, they don't feel maligned, they don't feel like they're being preached to? Because I think that oftentimes people get a new something in their lives and they want to share it, and then it comes across as overbearing.
Yes. What I do is I do a lot of interactive workshops, and we start with the food. Like I do a workshop called Salad Anyone. And so what we do is we make a salad together, and I primarily focus with the children, the teens and young kids. and they make the salad together, and we talk about good food that way. So I try to I try to make it interactive, because people don't like to be preached to. People don't like for you to point their your finger at them. So it's really just letting people know that when you know better, you can do better. And I try to make my workshops very interactive so that you can have the on hands experience and then leave and say, well, yeah, maybe I could do better.
Yeah. I like this. So Rodney will be here May 4th, 9:30 to 11 at Hill House High School in the cafeteria, and this is going to be a workout.
Yes.
Honest to God workout. So come with your sneakers on.
There's going to be a workout. We're going to work out. We're going to do some Tabata. We're going to do a lot of movement, and hoping that you sweat it up and build up an appetite so you can go out and eat something good to replenish those nutrients that your body lost after we finish working you out when you leave at 11 o'clock.
So tell us what Tabata is. What is that? I know what it is, but for the folks who don't know, it might be interested.
Yep. Yes, we do. It's a timed exercises, and so we may do an exercise for 30 seconds and rest for 15, and then do that same exercise 30 seconds and rest for 15.
So it's like high intensity. What is it called? They call it high intensity height, right?
Yeah, high intensity. Yeah, high intensity, and most people, being here in the South, outside more frequently, and then in January and February. And so in Connecticut, we may not have that same opportunity because of snow and the different elements with the weather. And so when you go indoors, you want to replicate that same intensity that you would if you were outside. And so we try to utilize high intensity to burn calories, create a interval effect so that your body can have the same experience as being outdoors. And so the high intensity Tabata type exercises are what we're going to do when we come to town, and with some good music and some good energy and a good attitude. And Babz, one of the things that really helps a lot of people become successful on this journey is their attitude. Never feeling defeated, going into it with a positive attitude, and just seeing any obstacle as a challenge.
Because fitness isn't you're just going to win. It's highs and lows. It's consistency that sort of measures the success of what you do. At least that's what I'm finding out as I start and stop and start and stop. That it is really, I'm starting to really understand consistency and not so much the end goal.
And I think it's important that we never, ever give up on change. Never just say, well, I'm just going to be fat. I'm just going to be taking all this Never give up on change. And I'm trying to do this Facebook thing. And I just posted something the other day, and I said, the old cliche, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Never, ever give up. And I think that's really what people have to understand, that if you wake up the next day, you have another opportunity to try to do something that's going to benefit yourself. And if you're better, then you can be a better wife, you can be a better husband, you can be a better sister, brother, friend. You can be, if you're your best, then that best can shine all over everyone.
Yeah.
So
and you're absolutely right. I want to just share one story with you. We had a person to come into boot camp, and now he's working out with me a little bit. And he, when he started out in January, he had the worst attitude. I was like, man, I can't wait for this guy to stop. Right? He had diabetes, and I didn't realize all the health challenges he had at the time. And he's a very high profile person down here. And I don't know if his wife told him he had to come or if he was forced to come, and it felt like he was forced. Here we are in April. He's off of all of his diabetes medication.
What?
Wow.
See, that's what I want.
Every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And
when I tell you, he's a commissioner down here in the Metro Atlanta area, and one of the best clients you would ever imagine. But when I first saw him, I said, man, I didn't think you were gonna make it. But now you can't stop him from coming to that gym.
So
and he has meetings every day, government meetings and stuff. But he
makes time.
5 o'clock every morning.
Okay,
Rodney, thank you for that story, because that's exactly what my message is. You can halt obesity, you can decrease chronic diseases, and you can improve your health outcomes with diet and exercise. Thank you so much. And that's what Nuts About Health, that's our mission. We want to slay the obesity monster. We want to help people. We want to empower people. It can be done. And thank you so much. So I'm so excited about you coming. And I just want to ask you, what's the one thing you want the people in New Haven that come to Let's Move Those Bodies, what do you want to leave them with? What's the takeaway that you want?
Okay, now you're doing my job.
I'm sorry. That's the old radio. That's the old radio in me.
Now you're doing my job.
I want folks to walk away knowing more about nuts about health, knowing more about how the food we eat fuels our body, and how activity can make a difference in your overall fitness goals, and not necessarily losing weight or other factors, but just overall fitness. If they walk away with those points, then that's a job well done.
I think that's a good point, because I think people get so bogged down with trying to lose weight that they forget that the gains that you get from becoming fit, to be able to walk a distance or run a distance or jump a rope or something, that the weight loss will come. But once you get your body conditioned to sort of move it, with great mobility, I think that's the for me, that's the bigger win, So I'm looking forward to you.
Babz, I wanted to give you one more client that I have, because she called me this week, and she was just so happy in something that was so small that may be small to other people. She's at 38 pounds. She's lost since she's been working with me in January, and she couldn't walk around the gym without getting tired. She texted me the other day. She said, Rodney, I was at the Georgia World Congress Center, and I walked to the front of the Congress Center in the back and still had more energy, and she walked over 21,000 steps that day.
Wow.
Something that was probably would have been just a routine for somebody else. It was huge for her and almost made me cry, but I was just so happy that she feels confident in walking versus when she started. And she just asked me yesterday to do a journey for her. But that's what it's all about for her, was walking, being able to walk.
Oh. Well, thank you so much, Rodney. I'm so glad that Dawn coordinated this effort, because I'm so glad to talk to you. And I'm such a fan of what you're doing. I follow you on Facebook on the Inner City page, and I've just enjoyed the progress. And it really is inspiring. I mean, and now I'm more inspired, although I won't be here for your visit, because I'll be in Paris. But
lucky her, right?
But I definitely will be much more inspired now that I've talked to you, and I feel like I can tap into some of your energy. So, and thank you, Dawn.
I'll text you a workout, Babz, and so you can work out while you're in Paris.
Okay. Okay, Rodney.
I'm quite sure that's not going to be on your mind.
No, you know what? I work out with Robert Fulton at Full Fit Gym, and so he's got me on this weightlifting life, right? And I low key love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. Full Fit is a great guy, and he's got a great gym, and weightlifting is awesome. So I recommend weightlifting to everybody.
I really like it. So I enjoy it. So thank you, Rodney J. Russell. And so Pete, please, everybody, come out, and Dawn Slade, come out to Hill House on May 4th from 9:30 to 11 and get this good workout. And it only cost you $10. That's less than a drink at a club, at a good club.
And it's all to benefit Nuts About Health, and it's all tax deductible, and it's really to move the work forward, because it's an important work that we have to do. We have to save our community through health and fitness, and I appreciate Rodney coming to do this and spend his time with us on this journey.
And thank you. So y'all stay tuned for Michelle Turner. The show is up next. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. I'll be back tomorrow, and y'all have a good Thursday. Thank you, Rodney.
Bye, Rodney.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.